Good morning, students. It's me, Miss Sonia, and today we are back with another topic. So, the topic which I have selected for today is Shimla Conference 1945. In this topic, I am going to tell you the details, consequences, impacts, and everything which is related to Shimla Conference. And I am going to tell each and everything in detail because the reason behind that is there were multiple MCQs along with question and answers which were included in the past papers. So hurry up, grab your notebook along with pencil and pen and start noting the important pointers. And yes, you're already familiar with the other guidelines. So let's move forward. Shimla Conference 1945. Lord Wavell arranged a conference at Shimla in June and July 1945. It means that this conference was between June and July. It took about 1 month to be resolved or to be decided that what issues should be discussed and how can they reach to a better conclusion. To discuss the formation of an executive council. Executive council basically means that a number of members are included in the council. They decide that what should be done further to improve the conditions of the state. So that is known as executive council. The basic reason behind Shimla conference was to form the executive council so that the actions should be taken further. And why it is known as Shimla conference? Because it was held in Shimla. This is the main reason it is famous with this name. The Congress claimed that it represented all the communities in India and as such it could nominate Muslim as the member of the new council. Now, according to the Congress, which was the political party of Indians, so they stated that they were representing all the communities of India, and yes, they were also in favor to nominate Muslims as the member of the new council. It means that if they want to join the executive body, so definitely they can stood up in the elections. So this was said by the Congress. All Indian Muslim League, which was the political party of Muslims, rejected the Congress demand and asserted that it had the only right for Muslim nominations. So it means that the Congress was basically saying that since they are representing all of those political parties or all of those communities which are living in the subcontinent, so they wanted Muslims to merge with the Congress and then to be a part of the executive council. But according to the All Indian Muslim League, they needed a separate representation. This is the main reason they rejected the Congress and they demanded that they only write for Muslim nominations. The reasons behind the Shimla conference was the Wavell plan. Lord Wavell replaces Linglithgow as viceroy. So Lord Wavell replaced him and then he came forward and then he decided about the matters of Shimla conference. The reasons behind that were pressure from the allies to seek further support from India in the war. What was the basic reason behind that? Because they needed the support of Indians in the war. So this is the main reason Shimla conference was held. And then the second reason, threat of Japanese invasion in India, forcing the British to negotiate. When we are talking about 1940, then you can see that the wars were going on. And yes, on the other hand, we were also having the threat of Japanese people. So we also needed to overcome that thing. So we needed the support of Britishers on one end, and then the Britishers on the second hand, they needed our support in the war too. Elections due in England and the conservatives wanted to appear serious in finding solutions in Indian problems. So elections were held in India. And the conservative parties, it means the decision makers, they wanted and they were discussing about this matter seriously and they were finding solutions about it, that what should be done further to improve the conditions of the Indian problems. Then features basically means the importance, that what were the important points of the Shimla conference. Number one, British to start negotiating on the new constitution for India once the war was over. British wanted to negotiate on the new constitution. New constitution basically means that a written document in which we decide that what actions should be taken further, and the constitution is basically followed by each and every individual who's living into that country. Then the Executive Council of the Governor to have only Indian members except the Governor General and the Commander in Chief. So, the Executive Council of the Governor, they can only have Indian members in that. And yes, the Governor General and the Commander in Chief will also be Indians from that. But you can see that the higher bodies except, it means Governor General and Commander in Chief cannot be Indians. Governor General and Commander in Chief will be Britishers, and then the ranks below them, they can be allotted to the Indian members. Equal representatives from Hindus and Muslims to be taken. It means both of them equally would be divided, and the representatives would be taken from them. Then the council would function as an interim government and prosecute the war against Japan. Governor generals to have veto power. The governor generals are having veto power. It means if they want to dismiss someone, so yes, they can. They have those powers in their hand. And once if the people are selected for the council, so they have to participate in the war against Japan as well. Then the reaction towards it, it means the points which were put it in front of Indians and Muslims. So were they agreed onto those points or not? Let's just figure out this thing. Number one, Congress objected to the plan because it was threatened as a Hindu dominated party. So Congress, it means the political party of Indians, they didn't accept the plan, they rejected the plan because they thought that it is basically a threat for the Hindu dominated party in the subcontinent. And on the other hand, it wanted to nominate members of all castes and religions, including, because they wanted to nominate each and every one of them, but Muslim needed a separate representation. They didn't wanted to join hands with them in this way. Then the reaction of Muslim League towards the Simla Conference was the Muslim and the Waiwal plan. The Muslim League objected to plan because it wanted all the Muslim representatives in the council to be nominees of the league. We have already studied in the previous slide that they needed equal representation, which was stated by Lord Waiwal that equally they would be treated and represented. But on the other hand, Muslim League objected. They were not in favor of the decision because they wanted separate representation, along with they wanted all of them to be nominated as the Muslim League, and they wanted those nominees to be a part of the council. But it didn't state it according to the Waiwal plan, number of people will be allowed to be nominated. So it wanted veto power in the council to use if decision taken by the council were not in favor of the Muslims. So you can already see that Governor General is having the veto power. It means if he wanted to dismiss someone, so only he's having the power to do so. But the council also needed the veto power into their hands. For example, if the decision is not in their favor, so they can dismiss someone, but they were not having the veto power in their hands. That is the main reason. It was a failure for the Muslim League as well. They were not in favor of this thing. So the conclusion was the failure of the Waiwal plan and the Simla Conference was a watershed moment for the Indian independence struggle. All steps taken to prevent partition had been met with failure, meaning that it was inevitable. So you can see over here very clearly that they both were not in favor of that. It was a bloodshed. It was a watershed over there. They were fighting with each other for independence. So it was a complete failure. So the assignment for today is question number 1, write a note on Simla Conference 1945. And then question number 2, was Simla Conference 1945 the most important factor during the 1940s that led to the partition of the subcontinent in 1947? Give reasons for your answer. In this way, in this question, you have to tell your reasoning, but you have to justify your answer with an example, and then you have to share your answer on KP under my instructions below. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this presentation turned out to be something important and informative for all of you. And I hope all of those misconceptions in your mind are pretty much clear up till now. If you people are having any sort of questions, so you can ask me on KP under my instruction. I will respond to you over there. Or if you cannot ask me over there, so you can ask me on my YouTube channel. I will even respond to you over there as well. Thank you so much, everyone, once again. And I repeat that I will return back with another informative presentation for all of you. Till then, take care, barakallah, and Allah Hafiz.